Hello everyone, this is ICO Talk. My name is Yelena. Today my guest is Anh Vo, CEO and founder of DropDeck. Hello Alan, thanks for joining us.
Hello. Hello.
So, well, first of all, please a few words about the project. What is it all about?
So DropDeck is a cross-border business funding platform. We built it to solve the existing problem that existing funding platforms are having. They have a lot of problems in both transaction and data integrities and in design. So we want to solve all of them so that we can channel more capital into innovative companies around the world. So we use AI technology and blockchain technologies. We combine them in a unique way to ensure three outcomes. The first one is to make sure that the companies are exhaustively scored and ranked so that the funders can screen very fast and make decisions faster. The second outcome is to make sure that the transaction of the funding from the funders to the companies, to make sure the transaction to be safe and secure and transparent. And the third outcome is to make sure that we increase the possibility of the funder being rewarded for their funding efforts, so that they can have have the capital to keep funding even more and to attract more and more funders. The funders are there to give value and then to take value back, so that they can keep giving more and more values.
Okay, and is it a startup? When did you start the project?
So it started a very long time ago. I pursued this vision for a very long time. I wrote the first paper relating to this one since 2010. I've been doing market research and problem validation since early last years, and we began to form a team to start the product development since December last year.
Okay, since you've mentioned your team, tell us a few words about it.
Yeah, so our teams, we start with two co-founders, me and my CTOs. I focus on business and product designs. My CTOs focus on AI and blockchains. So that after that, we invited a lot of advisors and other team members around the world. We use blockchain, so we adhere to the same philosophy of the blockchain to be open. So our team is very open. We have members around the world. Our advisors also around the world. Our advisor George is an expert in lending. We have other advisors who are experts in VCs, in fintech, and a lot of other financial products. And also we have legal counselors who are very experienced in ICOs in Singapore and in Sweden and in the US.
Okay, so as far as I got it, the project exists since 2010. Why have you decided to launch the ICO right now?
So it's been a long journey of learning and pivoting. We didn't realize that we need blockchain in the first place. We were experimenting with a lot of methods and technologies. So since beginning of this year, we experimenting with the AI. We came up with a plan to use AI to solve this problem. We got into the top 146 of IBM Watson AI X Prize. So we received a lot of support and recognition from them. After that, when we was developing our AI technologies, we figured out there's still problem in AI that people cannot solve yet. So just for example, the problem of data generation. We need a lot of data to fit into our AIs, but there's no existing incentive system in place to incentivize people to provide more and more data in higher and higher qualities. So that's where we turn to blockchains, because blockchains has an innate incentive system to incentivize people. So we try to adapt that into our products. We create an incentive ecosystem. We use the tokens and a smart contract to incentivize people to provide data in higher and higher quality and quantities, so that complement our AI applications, and that's our findings during the course of this IBM Watson AI X Prize competition. So we receive a lot of recognition for these findings from our advisors and other competitors.
Yes, still, what is your main advantage over your competitors, and what is your main difference?
we have a lot of competitors in these fields because existing funding platform includes on the investment platform like AngelList and the lending platforms like DropDeck. So a lot of them have been operating for a long time. Everyone wants to solve the problem of cross-border business funding, but that they encounter into a lot of dead ends because they have not figure out how to combine AI and blockchain in the same way that we're doing here. So we're actually not creating new AI technologies or new blockchains, but we combine in a very unique way that happen to solve all the problems in existing funding platforms. So we believe that we don't have direct competitors right now because compared to other investment platform, we have product designs that have funders screen companies very fast, and we bring the answer right in front of them. We don't just leave the hassles of finding the needles in the haystack to the funders. We also do a lot of scoring and ranking so that the funders can screen very fast. And for each of these scores, the scores can be broken down into many different components. So we don't tell funders whether a company is good or bad based on just one score, but based on a combination of scores. This is very comprehensive. And also the blockchains, we don't just use the blockchain is superior in providing a transparent and simplest and instant transaction for the payment. But besides that, we use token and smart contract to create an incentive system that complement AI developments. We don't just use blockchains for transaction like other funding platform they're doing, like Funder Beams. They also use blockchains to make faster transactions and more secure transactions, but they don't use blockchain in the same way that we're using.
I see. Okay, let's speak about your ICO now. First of all, what is the hard cap?
So the hard cap is 100,000 ethers, but the soft cap is very low. Soft cap is 30,000 ethers. This is around 1/3 of the hard cap. We only aim to we aim to get a soft cap.
Okay, and why do you need this particular sum? So to say, will you please tell us a few words about the roadmap?
Yeah, so we have a spending plan in place. Let me show it to you. So the majority of our expenses will cover our cost of product development, because we're dealing with the intersections of blockchains and AI. So we need a lot of expertise in both of these areas. That's why we're posting a lot of job spots on AngelList, and we received like 450 applicants from around the world who want to work for us. And these people are very high-ranking personnel in other countries, in the big companies. So the cost for acquiring these personnel is very high, and also the cost for the legal. So since our platforms deal with crowdfunding, so we need to acquire crowdfunding licenses from a lot of jurisdictions. For example, Singapore, and we're making a list of countries that require the licenses. So they incur a lot of license fees that we are dealing with. Also, because the blockchain is not at a level where we can store all the information to be processed by our AI engine. So we need to store data in a data lake. So there's a lot of problem with the interoperabilities between the blockchain and the data lake that will require a lot of expenses in product development. Also, it is very costly to purchase and process data in our case, because we don't have all the data on our side. Our philosophy is to process as much data as possible to produce as accurate as possible the scores. To do so, we need to generate the data ourselves, and we need to purchase the data from our data partners. So data nowadays is very expensive. Also, we have a very aggressive timeline to complete the first features for fundings by the third quarter of next year. It is a very aggressive timeline just to make it in time to make an impact on the cross-border business funding market. So that requires a lot more to accelerate the schedules. And
why this particular timeline? I didn't get it.
The international funding activities, they increase that they pick at the end of the year around the fourth quarter of every year. For example, the amount of money spent on venture capitals, they also increase to the maximum during the fourth quarters in October, November, and December. So we want to have our product in place at that time when the demand is at the highest. So people who want to use their investable capitals to invest in innovative companies, they can use our platform by the end of next year. If we wait until 2019, fourth quarter, it will be a little too much time, like 2 years later. That will be too long for our token holders so we want to make it fast enough to make it in time for the fourth quarter next year.
Okay, I see. And now in maximum details about your tokens, what are the key benefits for your token holders?
Yeah, so the benefits for the token holders stem from the market size that we addressing, because we're trying to solve a lot of problems in cross-border business funding. This represents a huge market of $300 billion. So everyone who wants to participate in our platform need to use our token to get access to our platform. So they need to buy our tokens. So when people participate in the funding processes on our platform and everything go well, then the demand for our platform will increase. So people need to buy. Anyone who wants to participate in funding, cross-border business funding, need to get our tokens. And that way the capital from the huge market of $300 billion will be channeled into our platforms, because the number of our tokens is fixed. So as more capital is injected into our platform, the more valuable our tokens will become. So that will bring a lot of value to the token holders. And also in the short term, we have a burning schedule for our tokens. So we have a lot of revenue stream on our platforms. We take like 4% of the total funding amount of funding activities on our platform. So that's a huge amount of money, given the huge amount of funding activities that may take place on our platform. This 4%. So we collect all of these revenues in our own tokens. It's called DDD tokens. So when we generate this amount of revenues, we have a plan schedule to burn up to half of these tokens, so that the value of the tokens will increase as the number of supply decrease. Okay. So for people who hold our tokens, if they decide to hold our tokens, the value of the token will increase over time. If they decide to spend our tokens for funding on our platform, they can fund innovative companies on our platform that are carefully evaluated by the communities, by the ecosystem, so that they can make even more money out of that.
Okay, and what do you think about this future of the ICO market in general in the world?
So we observe the ICO market very closely, because we're part of it right now. So for example, in my country, or in Singapore, or in Japan, or in Korea, in China, we realize that there's a lot of scams and MLM schemes, like out of 10 ICOs, they're like 90% of them are scams. So that has a lot of negative consequences for the whole market. So you know, we came from the venture capital industry, so there's a reason why the venture capital industry is depressing right now, is because there are not enough great companies out there to fund. So it's the same in ICO market. There are not enough great ICOs to put your money in, but the number of ICO is increasing without controls. So that means there are a lot of scams and bad companies mixing into the getting into the mix. So that's why a lot of big country with a lot of ICOs like China and Korea, they're banning ICOs to prevent the scams and MLM scheme from conning the people. So we believe that maybe in the next few months or in 6 months or in the years, then countries around the world, they will follow and they will try to suppress ICO market just to so that they can decrease the number of scams and MLM schemes, multi-level marketing schemes, so that they can protect the benefits of the good ICOs. That means that the quality of ICO will increase over time, but the number will decrease because logically there cannot be so many great ICOs. So the ICO market will become very selective. So at that time, that's the opportunity for DropDeck, because with DropDeck, the companies who want to raise fund, they don't need to do an ICO, because ICO is very costly, very distracting. It requires a lot of efforts in legal, in marketing, in technologies. So not all companies are fit to do that. So So in the future, out of 100 companies who want to raise fund, around 5 of them can do ICOs, and 95% of them can just use DropDeck to raise the fund. Because on DropDeck, they can raise the fund in cryptocurrencies. They can enjoy the benefit of cryptocurrency without having to go through on the hassles of running an ICO for half a year, up to a year, with a lot of risk. Because one of the risks of our ICO is that we will have to compete with a lot of scams and MLM schemes. They have very progressive marketing plans because they pump all their money on marketing. They don't use money for technologies or legals, but their marketing effort is very appealing to majorities, to the public. So they have a higher chance of capturing the public's attention and the public's wallet. So yeah, that's one of the risks that we were taking here. But we're actively working with the authorities, for example, in my own country, in Singapore, with the MAS, so that we can come up with countermeasures to suppress the bad ICOs, so that we can stand out and raise the fund that we intended to build a product that fosters innovations. It's not just we create an innovation to help with innovative companies out there. That means our innovation foster innovation worldwide. That's our plan.
Okay, thanks for this interesting answer, really. And now, just in very brief, in 1 or 2 sentences, why should I invest in DropDeck?
So, if I have to sum up that way, so I would say that DropDeck solves a very big problem for a big market. So it promises a lot of return for the token holders. And the second reason is, like I said, we're creating a lot of innovations here, and these innovations are meant to foster other innovations in other innovative companies around the world. So we're doing a very impactful and meaningful things over here, not just for the short-term benefits, but for the long-term benefits also of everyone.
Okay, Alan, then thank you very much for being with us and for your time. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, and I remind you that my guest today was Anh Vo, CEO and founder of DropDeck. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and watch more interesting videos. Bye-bye.